I'll keep it very much a stack. I don't believe it. There's multiple things that genuinely I just really don't believe. One is that we're getting another My Hero game, and it's basically the same doggone game over again, except it got cutscenes this time, which I'll be real, it's not really that much of a step up. If you gave this to Cyber Connect 2, I'd pretty much will be here for it all dang day, if I'm gonna be real, but considering they haven't, and it's gonna play basically the same doggone way, I don't care. So that's just number one. And then number two, the fact that we are really going back to this whole what debate of lolly is. Like, I am very confused, right? Obviously, this is really mainly, really pushed into overdrive because of Samba the Amigo. Basically, Gura's new, VTuber. And when it comes down to it, though, people are flipping out or tweaking out, basically kind of just having this whole ass debate of, is lolly actually good? Is it acceptable? And it's just like, are you serious? Are we yet again having this damn debate again? How are y'all not tired of this? Like, dead ass, that's what it feels like. It's just like, bro, we have literally discussed this multiple times. People stand on whatever side they stand on, and then now people are legit considering trying to enjoy or trying to let lolly slide or something like that, right? I really hate it. I really do. Because honestly, I am very much not of the side of the fence where I'm just like, yes, let more people become Lolicons. This is an exceptional time. No, I like it. I like it the way it is. I don't care about it having, a lot of people to come in. That's what make it fun, because a lot of people ain't effing with it, and that's just ultimately how it is, right? And granted, you will always have people that will never really F with it, but high key, you will always have people that will say they don't F with it, but then ultimately they just, are antis that are hypocritical as hell, and they just genuinely do. And that's essentially what we end up getting majority of the dang time anyway. It's just really the fact that, you get a lot of people that come through, watch another content creator or whatever, and essentially realize, or not realize, that they actually are heavy into Lolicon, only for them to now just be like, oh, we should have this discussion. We should have a legitimate debate. The debate's been dead for years, bro. The debate has been dead. It's either you are fine with it, or you're not necessarily fine with it, right? At this point, that's kind of where the debate should be, because there shouldn't really honestly, there really shouldn't even be a debate whatsoever. You just pick a side and then just deal with it for the rest of your time. That's literally how it is. Again, it is not that big of a damn deal whether you like to see some nice cunny ass or you just don't want to see that sort of thing, right? That's just how it is. It's perfectly fine if that's on either side of the fence of what you want to be. Just don't be a dick ass about it, and literally all will be fine. But yet again, I still have to ask the question, who the hell really thought, watching Gura, really looking at the, the streams and the content and everything she's a part of, who really sat here and thought, yeah, I'm gonna support Gura blindingly so, not necessarily thinking about the lolicon nature of things at all? How did you, again, not see that? Again, in Gura's case, it's not like she was hiding it or anything like that, much less anybody that actually genuinely does like it for the most part. Literally, this is just a non-issue, and yet people oftentimes try to make it an issue for literally no dumbass reason. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And as someone that has talked about this, conversation for literally years at this point now, and, kind of is partly like half of this channel's like audience, if anything. But when it comes down to it, though, I'm not gonna lie, I really am tired of this damn discussion and debate and topic of just, is it okay, is it not okay, or what is the rules, damn it, and all that sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you enjoy the content, you enjoy it. That's just how it is. At the end of the day, as long as nobody in real life is getting hurt or harmed in any shape and form over the subject of what you're trying to do, then who cares, right? That's just ultimately how it is, right? It just, again, there is many more evils that exist out there in the real world than, everybody worrying about lolly and whether or not it's actually fine to have it in the VTubing space, or whether it's just fine to have creations of it just drawn up and whatever, right? There's way more evils that exist out there than, what Lolly could ever possibly do. And one of those evils was just literally pretty much let go today with the whole, Orochimaru man, whole ass P. Orochimaru trial that just literally ended off with this man just coming off as not guilty as hell, right? So you mean tell me we have Island Man with the files that's out there that's basically just like, yeah, he done some wild and stuff, and no one releases the files, and now we have, oiled up man Orochimaru basically existing out there, and he just is going to get away with a lot of the shit that he has done? I very much have to ask, how the hell is Lolly that damn bad when you have this much evil out there, right? And it just goes to show you, if you got a lot of money, it does not necessarily matter what the hell you do. You can get away with effing anything. You got the money, connections, and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't necessarily matter. Which led me to make a whole tweet, basically not too long ago, just saying that, yo, real talk, high key, and this is just how it is, because this is the world that exists. But it doesn't matter how many times we hard focus on, actually trying to do well by saving, real kids from actual dangers and stuff like that. It really doesn't matter, because what our cause is for wanting to stop that nonsense will always be outclassed by literally anybody that has way more money and way more just stuff than we could ever hope to achieve to go get, right? That's just ultimately how it is. Our cause might be big, but their evil ass causes is even bigger, and that's an unfortunate circumstance, right? And that's like the big picture. I feel like a lot of people, especially on the topic of trying to protect children, should actually aim at, instead of trying to worry about, is this actually, viable in terms of lollies, and, how is this a thing, and how can this be, something that people get into and all that sort of stuff. Lollies is literally like the most non-issue compared to what has happened today. The absolute travesty of what has happened today. I wasn't even trying to make it about that whole, oiled up man trials incident sort of thing out today, but that shit really irks the hell out of me, high key, and it should irk the hell out of literally anybody that has common sense of what the hell has going on, because there is no damn way that shit should have happened the way it did, and yet it did, and it's weird as hell. Meanwhile, you have other people trying to go out their way to, ban Lolly, ban all that sort of stuff when it comes down to in fictional sort of sense and all this sort of stuff, while you get people at the absolute top of the economic game to just come through, do something wild with actual kids, and then don't necessarily have any sort of consequence against it. It's shit. At this point, it wouldn't be surprising if someone ended up live streaming it, which will be very much an awful ass thing no one should want to see and should be absolutely taken down immediately. But at this point, that's just kind of the world that we kind of have right now. It's sad, it's unfortunate, I hate it to the absolute bits. But then the average person out here is very much hyper focused, hard focus, high end focus on things of the matter of fiction, and the things in the matter of lolly and stuff like that, and thinking that's the worst case right there. This should not be a discussion at this point. It really shouldn't. There should be other routes of lolly to discuss, but not what is it and is it okay for people to get into or stuff like that, because at this point it shouldn't even matter. It shouldn't even be a discussion that we should be having. We should be trying to figure out other ways of protecting people in real life versus actually worrying about whether or not is it okay that Gura's whole new character is a lolly, and is it okay for her to be showcasing herself to be in that sort of position in ways. Is it fine for people to draw those sort of characters or whatever, because there's like a million other things that we should be focused on, and that's not necessarily one of them. Again, why the hell would you want to sit here and limit yourself, self-censor yourself essentially, over literally nothing versus actual nonsense that exists out there, and actual even more bigger evils that is way worse than what we currently is going on when it comes down to the realm of fiction that doesn't really matter. I really don't get it. And this is what also makes me like entirely angry about the new generation of people that's below me and in my generation as well, is that they oftentimes online throw around the p file world like a lot. They throw down the word a lot, and essentially it's just like, dude, all that shit does is literally just water down the effects of what actually or what a person actually is, if they're actually that or not. It absolutely just waters down the hell out of the genuine, like, I guess, like, emergency of that word of warning people when it comes down to it, right? Because ultimately, now because everybody gets called that, essentially, you know, it just doesn't really matter to a high extent until it's too damn late. And that's the part about a lot of this, right? Again, hard focusing on something that does not necessarily matter, that does not necessarily need to be hard discussed. If I said, and I'm just gonna be absolutely honest, as someone that is very much fine with Lolicon and fine with all of its content for the, the most part of it when it comes down to it, I'm not gonna lie, I could just straight up be fine with the most raunchiest, craziest, wild and looking, form of an anime lolly getting absolutely wrecked to smithereens through a whole 5,000-pound dildo stick. It doesn't necessarily matter. That should not necessarily be up for discussion whether it's fine or not, because again, it's fiction. It shouldn't necessarily matter, and that's just how it is, right? If I want to eat she's whole vagina out completely clean and make her somehow feel like she's alive again, then that's perfectly fine, considering the fact that, there's actual nonsense that exists in real life that can't really be solved for whatever reason. I'm just going to be absolutely real when it comes down to that. Like, it just, again, there is no reason why in 2025 we should be having this damn debate of something that really should not be a debate at this point in time. It doesn't matter if you like it or not, it shouldn't be taken away. And that's basically the whole damn point with a lot of obscene content that people may or may not really sit here and like, right? Because at the end of the day, sure, you don't have to enjoy it, sure, you don't have to like it, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be something that's, taken away from people to create that sort of thing, as long as it's not doing anything illegal and obviously hurting people and stuff like that too. Like, again, there is no reason why people should not necessarily be able to have, the fictional side of content and stuff like that too, because at the end of the day, you know what it is? It's just a fantasy. At the end of the day, it is literally just a fantasy, and there's nothing really more you can do with that. That's literally what it is. It's like when you see those tweets on these like news posts or whatever, where they have like teachers absolutely just trying to, get some from the students or whatever, and they get arrested for it. Like, it's like when you see those posts like that and you see the amount of comments actually just like, yo, that, I know that boy had a good ass time, I know that was peak as well, and just like, what are we talking about? Like, dead ass. I'm gonna be absolutely for real. Again, is it absolutely crazy that this stuff happens? Not really, because this shit happens a lot, unfortunately. But when it comes down to it, though, I'm gonna be absolutely real. Things like that are just shouldn't be a thing. But at the very same time, if you like that sort of instance or whatever, where you can take it into a fantasy sort of setting, right? That's why you have adult stars that kind of act out those sort of scenes, be like, oh man, teacher, yo, I'm kind of failing this class, what can I do to make it up? You know what, I know what I can do, I'll go ahead and get on some knees real quick. Because again, it's a fantasy setting with two consenting adults, obviously, and they're just doing it for entertainment purposes. Very much the same way as like in fiction too, right? If you see some random anime girl just absolutely failing their classes, a gang of teachers about to go ahead and ram their cheeks. That's just how it is. But in real life, obviously, that shouldn't be a thing. There is no reason for anybody to be rooting for that sort of context and that sort of situation. And it makes me wonder just how weird is people actually, right? It genuinely just does. Again, fantasy speak is a different sort of subject in a different sort of way, right? It's a different sort of thing entirely, because again, the context of it is fantasy. It's not necessarily anything real that's happening here. And if it is something that is real, obviously it should be done like how a lot of adult stars do it, or something of the sort like that, where it's just like, oh, that's just how it is. Everybody's still, obviously an adult and whatever, that's perfectly fine. But any sort of other instance outside of the realm of fiction, and obviously any adult stars doing it, or, somebody, two consenting adults doing it themselves, there is literally no reason for that to actually, take place whatsoever, right? But again, that's just the weirdness of people. So what I really want to just, I guess, get across when it comes down to this video is just the fact that fantasy is perfectly fine. Fantasy is excellent, right? Because we don't necessarily know what kind of wild and stuff can be cooked up in a fantasy sort of setting. Anything can be cooked up in a fantasy sort of setting, and it can all be gassed, it can be lit, it can be all just nice as hell. But at the very same time, when you start taking that out of fantasy, when you start implementing that into real life in situations where it shouldn't be implemented, then that's where issues should arise and people should be pissed. But either A, people blindingly look at the wrong sort of thing as to what they should be mad at, and then the other sort of situation of B is really people also just look at that as a situation and then just kind of root for it because, oh, that guy's lucky right there. No! The hell is wrong with you? How can you very much say, oh yes, we don't necessarily care for, things in fiction or in fantasy, but absolutely we don't necessarily mind that shit in real life. And it's weird every single step of the way. It's just weird. This reality is just so weird. Of many different people and many different things, and it seems like no matter how much awareness you brings up of something, no matter how much that things should be stopped and things should be considered, not okay in real life, the fact that literally tons of people with tons of power can just do whatever the hell they want to and literally walk away like nothing ever really happened is just vile as shit. It's just vile as shit. It's weird as hell, and no one should be just standing for it, and yet people do, and then they look at anime or look at anything within the realm of fantasy as a issue, and then it's just like, what the hell are we even doing here? I don't get it, right? And it makes really a lot of this shit feel hopeless as hell too. Like, how do you stop any of it? You really can't. Realistically, you can't. You can only stop small scale maybe, but a lot of other stuff you probably can't, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know. I'm just really yapping about a lot of just stuff that annoys me when it comes down to it. Lolly mainly when it comes down to a lot of this, but still, there's just other stuff that's, brought to my attention that I constantly see on Twitter that is just like, how is this even a thing that people just are fine with at times? And then this is something that you go for when there's other things that you should be trying to attack and go for. It's just genuinely, every time, it's just genuinely really weird every single time I see it, right? Again, keep it in your whole ass brains if you're trying to think of some wild and nonsense, right? Because that's where it should be. Or put it out to a piece of fiction if that's what you want to do, because again, there should be no place for this in the real world that we live in, and yet it is, and people will continue to allow it, and there's literally nothing we can do about it on a big scale, and it's just sad. Genuinely, it's just really sad, and all we can really do is just talk about it because ain't nobody got the power to kind of change anything, right? Oh, I just annoyed my dang self. But yeah, that's really, I guess, all I wanted to say for this one. Really just wanted to rant out a lot of the stuff that's been currently happening, much less what I've been noticing, and then really seeing how people, respond to certain other things that has literally no problem whatsoever. Everybody gets pissed off for whatever reason. It's just a weird time. We just live in a weird ass timeline. I mean that for certain. But that's really all I guess what I want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Hit the bell notification on your way out. Also on my socials. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's Boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day.